Hey guys, welcome back as I walk in front of the camera. So this is part 2 of Denali's grooming. Part 1, I worked on the other side, the side you can't see on camera. I don't know. I could change the camera angle, but usually these are just one-part series and I switch from side to side. Obviously that didn't happen because it is taking a long time to brush her out for her spring groom because she is not only quite the large goat, but she's also quite the hot mess. But we are going to get there. And I have to tell you, if you watch sorry, goat hollered for a second, and I wasn't sure if there was distress or not. There wasn't a second holler, so it was probably just angry because I'm down here and they're not getting fed. It is after work on a Monday, and decisions were made. So before we get there, I'm Pam. This is Racing for Home Farm, where the animals rule the schedule, and I pretty much don't keep up, but I try. Nothing here is scripted. Nothing here is planned. Some stuff is scheduled, as in grooming sessions, but it's still not scripted, and I just chat about whatever comes to mind. Wow, and I catch cameras when they almost fall down. This is how my microphones get broken. That was a huge gust of wind. And I'm not going to take that out because you guys should be so impressed with my cat-like reflexes. So anyway, nothing here is planned, nothing scripted, clearly. And I do the best I can to keep y'all entertained, educated, and interested in the cute animals that we have here on the farm. So, Denali grooming part 1 took about a little over an hour, and that included doing her hooves. So I did her hooves, I came on camera, I brushed out most of her side, some of her shoulder, all of her tush, which included some trimming. You're going to see that on this side. And her shoulder was as bad as this one is. But I did stop. I thought I had gone on a little longer than I did, but I cut it off at about 30 minutes. That's about all you really need of me grooming goats. Who needs more than 30 minutes of me prattling on and about? Most of our grooming sessions are generally much shorter than that. In fact, after spring brush out and spring grooming, our grooming sessions are usually closer to 10 to 15 minutes, plus the 5 minutes I spend on hooves off camera. So it's really not a significant investment of time. It's just these initial first of the year grooming sessions when they're shedding and they've got all the winter stuff hung up in their coats, as you can see. All this vegetation hung up in their coats. And they need not just brushed, but they truly need bathed. But they need to be brushed before they can be bathed, so that's the stage we're at. So I cut off part 1 at about 30 minutes. I thought I had gone on about 40 minutes, so I'm glad it was only 30. And I said I'm going to finish up her side and I'll be back for part 2. Well, I did finish up her side, and by side I really mean her shoulder blade. So I was literally working on the other side from her ear to her shoulder. So just this section right here. 30 minutes later, I finally got it done. That was not what I was hoping. I thought it would just be another 10 or 15 minutes. So I am glad I cut it off because you guys would have been bored to tears for an hour of listening to me stand on the side of the goat where you can't see anything and yammer. And then I needed to make a decision. It is Monday night after work. I do actually have a commitment tonight that I need to get to. So do I stop, be finished for the day, sort of clean everything up, put her back in the pasture, and pull her out again after work this week, probably not until Wednesday or Thursday, and finish her up? Or do I power press through? Now, I made the decision that's best for the goat, not best for me. Best for the goat is, they feel better after they're groomed. They don't love it, right? Like, especially this particular grooming. They do love to be brushed out on a regular basis. It's just that this version of grooming where we're pulling is the wrong word, where I'm brushing out tangles, where the cashmere that is shedding out naturally is being sort of guided through, and it takes a long time, is not their favorite groom. Once we get done with this, they don't love their baths either, to be fair. Hello, Tonka. They don't love their baths either, to be fair. But once we're done with this grooming and then their baths, the rest of the year's grooming sessions, which happen every 6 weeks for each goat, are fast, easy, and they actually enjoy it. And it gives me a chance to lay my hands on them, check their body condition, look for any, boo-boos, anything that may be going on that you can't visually see because of all this coat. Find out how fat she really is, and oh my God, I'm going to be crucified. That's not right. I'm going to be slaughtered by my vet. So the decision I made is to keep her on the stand and keep going. And that decision, again, was made with her in mind, not me. As you may have noticed, my allergies are starting to act up. I'm still in a coat because it's like 40 degrees out and I'm cold. She's fine. She's got so much hair. I'm cold. I did this on the last video. I'm just cutting off that urine stained stuff that drags on the floor and gets peed on. There's no need to put her through the torture of trying to groom that out. It's just not worth it, number one. Number two, it's just going to get dirty again. And she, heck, it's her back end. It's by her udder. It's by her genitals. It's not comfortable for me to be pulling on hair back there. I keep saying pulling. And frankly, I don't blame her for not being as receptive to me working back there. Now, what you may have noticed is I moved pretty quickly through her side. That was pretty easy, right? There's not much there. I'm actually moving fairly quickly through her back end because by cutting off most of it, there's not much to work through. I am working through a little bit. I don't cut it all off. We don't leave her naked or bald. It's more of a sanitary trim than anything. And if she were still going into the show ring, none of that would have been cut off, and it would have all had to been cleaned and washed and de-stained. It's not necessary now. But her sides are great. Right until you get to the shoulder blades. And then from here back, I don't know why, but she is a disaster. And it's not unusual. There's nothing that's uncommon here. She happens to be an extremely heavily coated goat, meaning she has a lot of coat. And she has quite the cashmere production. Some of my goats, like Lotus, Sock Monkey, Wren, JC, Fanta, Emma, don't have cashmere production at all. Actually, Misty and Persephone are pretty lightly cashmered. Persephone's more so than Misty. But none of them are cashmered like this goat is. And that's kind of a factor of she's her genetics, number one. But two, she's also, my nose, killing me. She's a heavily coated goat. And that kind of comes with the territory, right? It's how she earned her master champion. So, I can't really complain. But decisions have to be made. So, my decision point, which 5 minutes ago I was telling you about. See how I ramble, isn't it fun? The brain is always an interesting place. You don't always want to be there with me. Oh my God, you are a mess. You have so much hay in your hair. So my decision point was, do I keep her up on the stand? She's been patient so far. She's been pretty tolerant so far. Again, forgive me, my nose is running. Decisions were made for her, not for me. And I'm trying not to sniffle and snort on camera because, yeah, that's always a better thing to do. And so the choice was put her back in the field and pull her out again in a couple of days and do this all over again, or finish her. And given that I knew it took me a half hour to do that side, I had to figure it was going to take me 30 minutes to do this side. But I also knew that it wouldn't take me very long to do her back end. So I'm kind of focused for the 30 minutes or so right here. And I'm sorry I'm pulling at my nose. I just don't know what else to do. So it would have been better for me and my arms and my hands and my allergies to take the break. But for her, all that would have done is given her another, 72 hours, let's call it, to let these tangles that already exist get worse. Are they going to get terrible in 72 hours? Of course not. Do I want to be dealing with them worse than they are right now? Not really. And I did promise Tonka, as fast as I can put hair in the muck bucket, he is pulling it out and taking it who knows where. Good news is it's totally biodegradable. So what I'm doing, and I promised I would show this to you during the last video, is I'm not looking to cut her hair, right? I'm looking to really snip through these clumps and make them so that the clumps will move down through the hair and be able to be removed. I don't want to cut them out if I don't have to, but she's not going in a show ring. So I am, I will cut them out if I find that I can't get them to quickly and swiftly move on. Tonka down. But if I do cut them out, I want to cut them out as small as possible so that I'm leaving as much of her coat as possible. And that is a choice, again, that I make for my herd. Most breeders would have shaved her down by now and kept her shaved down because maintaining this coat is ridiculous. I don't mind doing it, but I also, she's got static electricity now. I don't mind doing it, but I also don't have a giant herd, right? I have, 11 goats if we count Voodoo. I'm not sure that Voodoo counts yet. But 11 goats total, and I can rotate grooming 2 per weekend and have them all done in 6 weeks, and then they get groomed every 6 weeks. And, that's kind of my magic number. Tonka, stop it. Hey, go. That's kind of my magic number, right? I've had as many as 15 adult goats at one time. That was also relatively manageable. I had to up my game to 3 goats a weekend. But after these initial grooms, Tonka, go. Yeah, complain about it. After the initial groom, if it's 30 minutes a goat, that's still a reasonable amount of time, right? An hour and a half plus the setup cleanup. So, you're talking another 30 minutes there, right? Setup is getting all the stuff out, getting the grooming stand up. That's the easy part. Cleanup is putting everything away, hosing down and sweeping out the grooming stall. And, anything else that may have gotten dirty, collecting all the hair that Tonka has scattered everywhere that should be collected nicely in this muck bucket, but he is just yanking it out as fast as I can put it in. So you'll see the area that I cut, it's not like I made the knots move faster, but I made them move easier so it's not a big strand of area that I'm working on. And that is the key, I think, to everything and keeping these guys comfortable, is that I'm not working big giant areas where I'm just, let me rip hair out of your head. No. We are one section at a time, one knot at a time, one clump at a time. And they're not really knotted. I mean, I know it's hard to see even with the camera angle that I have, assuming that the wind incident didn't make it terrible. I should probably check that. I'm not doing anything other than loosening it up and helping that cashmere move down through the shafts of hair and out. And that is what prevents the additional tangling and the actual knots that can form. By getting that cashmere to move down and out, I am going to check the camera angle and make sure that we're still looking at Denali. Okay, life is good. It stops the vegetation, the bedding, the hay, the grasses, and all the things that are now stuck in her hair from getting stuck in her hair, because the actual coat is silky smooth. It doesn't mat, it doesn't tangle, it never knots. What's knotting, what's clumping is this cashmere that is naturally shedding, naturally occurring, helps keep them warm in the winter. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's normal, it's part of the breed. But as it sheds out and, you know, it's no longer attached to her skin and it's just trying to move down the shafts of this hair, it forms up these lovely little clumps. And again, they move through fairly quickly, as you can see. It's when those clumps encounter vegetation and bedding that, well, you know, ta-da, now you have a mess that needs groomed out. So my decision to continue her and finish her today, what are they barking at? Oh, okay. Nothing that I need to worry about, thankfully. My decision to continue to finish her today was about her comfort, her ability to be done and then be left alone for a while, and not my comfort, right? Like, I'd love to rest my back. I'd love to rest my arms, which are, you know, kind of continuously in motion with all this. This is what's coming out. You see, I'm not pulling out hair. I'm pulling out that shed. And so, yes, it's a long session for her. Yes, I did expect it to be 2 hours, and we're probably going to be pretty close to that. But at the same time, I want her to be able to be done. And it's easier, better for her well-being. If we finish it up, we suck up the 2 hours, I suck up the 2 hours, she sucks up the 2 hours, and we just get the whole thing done, rather than do 1 hour now and 1 hour in a couple more days, right? That doesn't help anybody. Plus, she has to, you know, come out of the stall. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about when I say, you know, like, this is an underneath piece. It's not a big tangle by any means, but there's no reason to have her have to deal with that. It's one less tangle to worry about. You're never going to see it. It's under the rest of her coat. She's not going in a show ring where a judge is going to pull up her coat and look for those short pieces. So easy enough to just go ahead and finish her for the day, and then treat myself by going to knit group tonight. It's not really knit group. Everybody calls it something different. So many of you know I'm a knitter, I'm a crocheter. I love the fiber arts. I'm pretty attached to it, but my focus or my activities are focused primarily knitting with a little dabbling in crochet. And I do it for myself, for charity. I use only natural fibers, blah, blah, blah. That's my story there. So we have a group that we formed about 3 years ago now with local people who also enjoy fiber arts. That can be spinners, that can be cross stitchers, quilters. I mean, if you use fiber in any way, shape, or form, which can be thread, yarn, it can, a lot of us don't, you know, you want to come and paint, nobody would stop you. But we formed a group called the Hunterdon Fiber Artists, and I'm in Hunterdon County, so haha, very clever, right? And we meet once a week for a couple of hours. It's open to everybody, doesn't cost you anything, or at least it doesn't cost you anything to come and be a part of our group. We have a Facebook group of about 400 people strong, might even be a little bit more than that, but not everybody comes to group every day, of course. And the people that come on a regular basis, some of them call it yarn night, some of them call it knit night. I tend to be a knit night person because I'm going to knit. Other people call it crochet night or social hour. You could call it stitch and bitch. You can call it anything you want to call it. But I love to get together with people who have similar interests. We chat a bit about the craft. We might show off, you know, our latest project. We get a chance, a lot of us get a chance to work what I'll call without the normal household distractions. Speaking of household distractions, Tonka, enough. Hey, go. Tonka, go, be gone. And, you know, we talk about all sorts of things, right? I can assume pretty comfortably that somewhere between 10 and 20 people will show up to each evening session. And we meet once a week, like I said, Monday evening. So this is a Monday after work already. And I'm in a race to get there. I'm certainly not, you know, she's not going to get shortchanged. I'll skip the group if we're not done. But if I can get it done, that'll be my reward. Her reward will be dinner, and we'll be good to go. It's an interesting group, right? Like I said, we're not a guild, we're not a foundation, we're just a bunch of local yokels that enjoy getting together, enjoy spending the time with our craft, whatever that craft may be. Again, we have lots of different crafts that come to the table. We're non-discriminatory with our crafts. Bring whatever you want. We have a wonderful place. We're lucky enough that we have a place in town in Flemington proper, Flemington, New Jersey, for those that have a Flemington in your area, that donates the space to us. And what we do in return, since the group charges nothing to join the group, it charges nothing to be a part of the group. We don't have officers, we don't have dues, we don't put out publications or anything else. We're really just friends that get together, right? We kick in a few bucks each every week to the place that donates the space to us. The place that donates the space to us is a local 501c3 foundation that does so much good for the community. And it's a win-win, right? Like, I could sit on the couch by myself at the end of the day here and knit away, and I would accomplish much the same. And I wouldn't have to get dressed, and I wouldn't have to take my PJs off, right? But why not do it with like-minded people, have that little bit of social interaction, and at the same time, you know, you're helping out a local community resource. Again, my $2-3 a week isn't going to do anything for them, but it adds up over time with the group, right? And I mean, this place is amazing. It runs programs all the time, which is, you know, everything from screen printing and dances and painting and art shows and plays and musicals. I mean, it's amazing the events that it does. And a lot of it is geared toward the younger community members. But it's also an amazing community resource. It has a little pantry, a free little pantry, a free little library. It has a vending machine for art, which is so cool, right? So local artists can put their prints or their art in there, and sometimes it's original, sometimes it's a print, and you can select, it's an old cigarette machine that was modified, and you can select these small, they're like trading card size, right? Pieces of art done locally. You can also buy the art that's on display, all from local artists, right? So you talk about really supporting the community. I've never been in a community that had something quite as robust as this. And every time I go and I see what's on the wall or on the calendar for the next round of events, I'm so impressed. Other things are, it's open access to everybody, right? They don't discriminate because whether you can pay or you can't pay. If you want to participate in the program, all of the program costs are voluntary. And it's kind of a, sliding scale, pay what you can. Here's the suggestion, pay what you can. No one's turned away. So I love that. I love the fact that they have things like Narcan on hand. They have resources on hand. They have volunteers on hand for crisis management, community management, in addition to all of the good they do, right? Providing these productive activities. So the 105 artists are now a part of that dynamic where we host an open evening. Anybody can show up. We'd love if you would kick in a couple of bucks to DIY is the name of the place, right? To be used for that particular charity, but it costs you nothing to be a part of our group. We don't take a cut. We take none of the money. It goes straight in an envelope. The envelope is sealed, and that sealed envelope goes right into the donation box. None of it touches us. We have a volunteer in our group that, puts the event schedule out for us. So somebody does that. We have another volunteer who, helps moderate the Facebook group. I volunteer to run the Facebook group and run the Ravelry group. Ravelry is a knitting website or database, for those that don't know, right? And it just works. It works, right? We make decisions as a group. We make decisions about what we're going to do, what events we're going to run. And somebody like last year, one of the members of the group said, we should get together and, do more of a sip and stitch where, we go to a place and we can have tea, coffee, adult beverage, and do some crafting instead of always coming here. Great. Go for it. You want to organize it? Do it. That's the kind of community it is, right? Like, fantastic. You don't need my permission. Do it. You don't need anybody's permission. Just do it. And as it turns out, it was a fantastic event. They organized it incredibly. A dozen of us showed up. And yeah, it's the kind of organic community that I adore. So that is my treat if I get Denali finished on time today. But you'll notice I have not rushed her. And I will not rush her, right? Because that's when you cause discomfort. If I'm going to rush her, I'm going to end up, and you can see how much we've gotten done already, right? This is all done. There is still a lot here, but by working it section by section, it really clears it up relatively quickly, almost painlessly, right? It's just me doing some hard labor and her having the patience and willingness to stand still. But, I work from the bottom to the top. I work from the inside to the outside. And it still looks ugly on the outside, but we have made a ton of progress already. So I was thinking about the knitting thing, not just because, I have the event tonight, but because ultimately one of the goals I have for this breed, and certainly who am I to have a goal for a breed? But I do, so there. So one of my goals for this breed would be for it to be able to eventually be a fiber animal. Currently, their purpose in the world is pasture ornament and companion animal. And that is what really they are being bred for, right? Is they're a small stature goat that is gentle in nature, easy to handle, very pleasant to be around, low maintenance, as long as you don't mind a little bit of grooming and don't count this grooming as its normal maintenance. Like I said, this is the spring brush out. It's a once a year event. And this is show standard, right? So this is show quality, maintained in show condition to the best of my ability. Most companion pet animals, pasture ornaments would not be like this. So they're relatively low maintenance. They're not a dairy animal. They don't get milked. They don't need to be milked. They could be when you have babies. You could technically milk them, but they're not going to produce gallons and gallons of milk where they require milking. They're not necessarily a meat animal, although, again, in origin, they could have been. But as you miniaturize them, and that's what this breed is now, is a miniature, there's not enough meat on the bone, right? And the shift in dynamic for this breed was also to move to a more elegant, finer boned, finer structured. She's a really bad example of that, by the way. She is not fine boned in any way, shape, or form. And she's certainly no longer elegant and refined. She's a bit of a bruiser. But we love her anyway, and she is a master champion, so we can't take any of that away from her. So, you know, the thing about the coat is it's practically, once you get this cashmere through, it is practically pure silk, right? And that is the intent. The coat should be, given the name, miniature silky fainting coat, it should be a silky texture. It should have a sheen to it. It should be fine, again, like it is. The cashmere doesn't count. That's not technically part of the coat, and it does come out for show. It does not get counted as a part of their look, right? But they should have this beautiful silky coat. And now you wouldn't shear them like a sheep. I would think that the better plan would be to either pluck or strip, similar to some rabbits, in terms of harvesting their fiber, right? So if we were to ever get them to the point that they could be a fiber animal, that would be, I think, how you would process the fiber. You wouldn't just cut them down. I think you would want to either, again, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology because I haven't done that much research. We're not there yet, right? And I'm not a spinner. But I think you would want to almost hand work the hair harvesting so that you got the staple length that you want and the quality of the hair that you want, right? And there are a lot of animals that you do that with. You don't just shear them like sheep and get a fleece. You're not going to get a fleece from this. It's also not wool. It's not going to be used like wool. I would much more liken it to a silk or a bamboo fiber where it can be used as an additive to enhance the sheen of your wool. You could certainly use it alone, but it would be extra special, right? If just like a silk scarf is much more expensive than a wool scarf, I would expect it to be in that same category. We're so close to done. I know it looks so bad, but we are so close to done here. I have to check the time and make sure I'm not boring you guys to death. But ultimately, that is what I'd love to see with these guys, is that they get moved from a companion animal, a pasture ornament, one of the sweetest goats you could have around, to having an additional purpose, if you choose to pursue that purpose, of being a fiber animal, where their fiber could be harvested and used in production for, whether it's a blend for wool or a straight up, silk type of fabric. Even for weaving, it would probably be phenomenal. So the problem with doing that right now is, one, nobody's done it before, so it has to be done by somebody to prove it can be done. But two, their coat takes a very long time to grow. So I look at a coat like Denali's, where she's just got tons and tons of coat. And heck, I could, without being a spinner and knowing all the things I should know about understanding how fiber would become yarn or, thread, I could probably just, come by, cut her hair completely, and have plenty to make some sort of amount of yarn, thread, fiber, right? But it wouldn't grow back. It wouldn't be back next year. Let me put it that way. It might be back in 2 or 3 years. It might never come back to that full length again. So that is the Tonka. I'm talking here. Down. Thank you. That is the biggest hang up I have right now. And people, albeit not for the right reason, maybe, or not for the, shouldn't say right reasons. Tonka, please. Here. Get. Go. Goodbye. So the breed itself is focused on the quality and quantity of coat. That's fabulous. That's already, Tonka, enough. That already moves toward a fiber animal. And breeders are breeding for, pardon me, Tonka. Go. Go. Ay, ay, ay. I think he's losing his patience too. He wants attention. We've really only got this, like, one more set to go through. So I guess when I walked away, move your butt, please. I should have checked my time frame here. All right, we are getting long in the tooth, so I'm going to try and wrap this up and be done, and I may finish her off camera. But you get the gist of what I'm doing here. So anyway, breeders are breeding for animals who have better quality coat, more coat, right? That beautiful show silk that you want is exactly what we need to do to make them a fiber animal. Breeders are also inadvertently moving toward that ability by breeding animals who grow their coat faster. And they want that, breeders want that, or showers want that, I should say, because you want to get your goat in and out of the ring, get that master champion title as quickly as you can. Now, it can only be done, you can't get a master champion title as a baby. You have to get your master champion title once you're grown up. So you do have to earn a leg after you're fully grown. But at some point, right, I could absolutely see this breed being to the point that they have the ability to grow their coat in full in a year. And if we get there, we're already moving in that direction, again, albeit not necessarily for that reason, but naturally it's migrating in that direction. If they can do that, if this coat could actually produce the length and the quantity that we have here inside of a year, then you have an animal where once a year you could harvest the coat and it would grow back, and the next year you could harvest it again. And by harvest, I mean, select how you're going to take the coat, whether that is cutting, clipping, stripping. I don't know, because again, I don't know enough about the production process to understand what the best harvesting method would be, but it would be completely harm-free to the goat. Let me put it that way, right? It would be no different than getting a haircut in some way, shape, or form. And then the goat becomes an animal that is not on the Livestock Conservancy list any longer. It becomes an animal that is now in desire, similar to alpacas and other fiber animals, different types of sheep, because you'd want the fiber, right? Right now, they don't have a purpose in the world other than to be companions. And quite frankly, that is a wonderful purpose, and it's why I have them. But I would love them to have a production level purpose, not production level like, you know, commercial farming, production level being, you know, like have chickens lay eggs. That's production level. You don't have to have a chicken farm to get, you know, you don't need to be producing commercial quantities of eggs to have a purpose. They have a purpose. That's what I want for this breed, is to have that purpose. So I'm hoping that we get there. It probably won't be in my lifetime because, you know, things don't move that quickly when you're trying to improve. But I have seen such improvement even since I started with the quantity and quality of the coats that these animals produce. So now the natural progression, again, even if it's not with a thought toward them becoming fiber and it's more of a thought of how fast can I get them their master champion, breeders are naturally moving toward a faster growing coat, one that's going to, you know, not take 3 years to grow. And so I think that's fantastic. I love the fact that they're getting there. Now, like I said, this is run longer than anticipated, so I am going to cut it here. She is, and I hope you guys have seen how much progress we have made, right? She really is almost done. And if I continue to work it, I will continue to forget to turn this off. So I am going to stop there and let you go, knowing that I'm going to finish her up. She's going to be done. And the next time you see her on the stand will be for a bath. And you will never again this year have to see me go through the torture of pulling all of her cashmere tangles out. So I appreciate you hanging in there through all sorts of excitement with Tonka, wind, and everything else that went on with this video. If you're still here and you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, please. It helps so much and it costs you nothing. Otherwise, I will see you next week with the next grooming session. And until then, I still have work to do. Bye for now.